The homogenization problem in the anime industry just keeps getting worse as Crunchyroll has opted to drop their free with ads tier, but beyond that, they and HIDIVE have teamed up with a coalition for pro-regulatory stances in the streaming industry. Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host on Idol. This is going to be a big one. We got a lot to talk about in regards to this, so we're going to start with the Crunchyroll stuff, move into the coalition aspect. This is very, very strange, and let's be real, probably a net negative for anime fans everywhere. So before we get into it, hit that subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. And yes, Crunchyroll just did their biggest mistake yet. Everyone is upset about it.
So what's this? Crunchyroll is officially ending their free ad-supported streaming service on December 31st, 2025. This
Good. Maybe, just maybe, this will convince all y'all folks that for whatever reason was still supporting Crunchyroll to hit the high seas. Hit that. That's where we all should have been to begin with, right? Crunchyroll is the devil. They are evil. They are a stain on the anime industry. Only tourists use Crunchyroll. They are a despicable company. So if them no longer showing shit for free is what's going to take y'all to move to the sites that actually, seem to matter, then I'm all for it.
service allowed people without a subscription to watch certain anime for free on Crunchyroll with ads. Well, I called it, I knew it, and I think everybody honestly kind of saw this eventually happening, but here we finally are. This is the consequences for Crunchyroll, or in this case, Sony, having a monopoly on anime in the West. Yes, they have some competition like HIDIVE, Amazon, and Netflix to an extent.
Yeah, I would not say they have a monopoly. I'm gonna be real. Like, Crunchyroll got a lot of problems. I wouldn't say they have a monopoly on anime in the West. I mean, I don't know if you can count HIDIVE as a real competitor. They're a far smaller time. Amazon and Netflix be throwing down money to compete in the anime realm with Crunchyroll. However, Crunchyroll is they are an egregious company that makes all sorts of anti-consumer actions, as well as, frankly, anti-anime and anti-artist actions when it comes to the art and the creative process behind them. But that's neither here nor there. At the end of the day, yeah, this is still bad for the people that, for whatever reason, support this dog shit-ass company.
But overall, it really is a Crunchyroll-dominated space. When it comes to very overwhelming popular series and what becomes trending or talked about in the West, usually the anime is on Crunchyroll to some degree. And with Sony buying out basically a lot of different competitors, for instance, buying Crunchyroll, buying Funimation, buying Right Stuff, and probably setting their sights eventually on Viz Media and maybe even kind of putting HIDIVE out of business, it's just going to get more and more apparent that Crunchyroll has a monopoly over anime, and they are so entwined with even production of some anime in Japan that it's most likely causing even a lot of series to get censored upon the production stage of just the...
Well, to be fair, that's not just Crunchyroll. Like, he is correct. Again, he is correct. There is likely an aspect of that happening. However, these Western companies being influenced in the Japanese media space is not new. It's unfortunately not abnormal either. You've got plenty of Western investment firms that have come in and they have effectively said, we will give you a whole bunch of money to produce the content, but you gotta make a concession here. You gotta make a concession there. Oh, censor this. Oh, let's edit that out. Hey, let's change the content. Hey, let's make so-and-so more DEI or ESG friendly. So needless to say, Crunchyroll is likely doing this, but they're not the only ones, and it's not just happening in anime. It's happening in manga, this is happening in video games. Basically, any cultural export in the form of entertainment is having this happen. Western influence is getting a huge grip on Japan. Look at what Nintendo has been putting out, for example. Compare, Nintendo products that are, just the way they're written, the way they're created, the way they're distributed nowadays, even in Japan, even within Japan, compared to what they've done in the past. I know we all hate Nintendo, and for very obvious and, likely virtuous reasons, it's even worse than people think. So, yeah.
Initial stage of creation. But before we go into that topic, the point of the matter is we need to talk about what this is, what this means, is it good, is it bad, what does this mean for the future, and how does this affect those that don't even use Crunchyroll. So first off, this entire move from Crunchyroll is more or less a systematic effect of the monopoly that they have, because at this point, Crunchyroll doesn't really have any competition. Like I already pointed out, HIDIVE is one of their main direct competitors, and they're not doing so hot. That just
Again, to say that Crunchyroll doesn't have competition is ludicrous. Like, you don't need to be an exclusively anime-based streaming service to be a competitor. Like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You just need to be able to provide an alternative service. So, like, Walmart and Target, they're obviously competitors. But then you look at something that's more niche. All right, GameStop. Walmart is still a competitor to GameStop. Yeah, Walmart might sell a bunch of shit, but they still sell video games and have a lot of foot traffic. No different than how Netflix or Amazon might have a ton of shit. They still got a lot of anime and got a lot of, monthly active users. So, no, that's why Crunchyroll is a problem, but we also need to use the correct terminology.
Completely honest, they have a lot of their series being taken away from them and being bought and licensed by Crunchyroll now. I believe Oshinoko is getting taken away from HIDIVE, which is a pretty...
That's not really what makes a monopoly, though.
Big deal, because that's like one of the bigger series that they've gotten in the last few years besides gushing over Magical Girls. But the point is that Crunchyroll removing this feature is eventually going to probably cause prices to rise and get exponentially higher. Like, let's give a good example of this.
Here he is entirely correct. If you get rid of the free with ads feature, that doesn't mean you're just going to get a paid version without ads. Hey, look, now you guys got to pay, but at least you get no. They will likely give you a pay with ads feature. That's where this is headed. That's what Netflix has done. That's what Disney Plus has done. Basically, the ad model is the only sustainable way for these streamers to work. Very, very few streamers in Netflix. Most streaming services cannot or will not get in the black just based on monthly active users. Why? Because there is a deluge of streaming services out there for all manner of stuff. And you got Paramount Plus, you got Hulu, you got Disney Plus, you got Netflix, you got Discovery, you got Crunchyroll, you got Tubi, you got the Roku channel, Shudder, you got, I'm sure I can just keep going and going if I just happen to look into it. Point is, these are expensive, they're everywhere, and it might not seem expensive, $7.99 here, $8.99 there, but once it adds up, yeah, you got yourself a bit of a problem. So point is, these companies aren't making any money because the market is too divided, right? Some people are paying for this, others paying for this. It's not like back in the golden days when you only had, like, Netflix, Hulu, maybe like Amazon, right? And so, yeah, they could effectively make money because they were all effectively sharing the same market. It wasn't so broken up. Now, if they come out and they say, we're still going to do ads, but there's a paid version, they're getting monies from you and from the advertising revenue, the advertising revenue, the people that are, paying to show the ads. It's a win-win. That's how they make their money.
Think of Netflix. Think of Amazon. A lot of different subscription services. I believe Disney does it as well. But they start raising prices. They say they need to raise subscription prices by $5 or $10. And eventually, as it gets astronomically high, they offer you a cheap deal for a lower cost, but you have to watch ads with the said episodes or movies. And I feel like that's more or less what Crunchyroll is designing this for. It's a push to eventually have a subscription tier with ads being supported.
Exactly.
And if you want to get rid of the ads, you're going to have to pay a higher subscription fee, which will give them justification to raise the prices even more.
Yep.
Because this is what effectively happens with a monopoly. If there is no competition, then these companies can more or less do whatever they want, gouge and get...
Well, no. Again, he's wrong here. It's not that because there's a monopoly, they can do whatever they want. That's true in theory, but what's happening here is we're looking at a new market norm. So even if there is competition, because there is, if all these competitors decide, you know what, I'm going to do this, and it's going to make more money, and when the other competitor looks and says, oh shit, they did that, and they're making more money? Well, fuck, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to make more money, and so on and so forth. This is exactly why when you've got, let's say, Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out, going to give us a $100 video game, you're going to have a whole lot of other studios be like, oh, damn, bro, people pay $100 for that? Fuck, son, all right. We're going to put out Splinter Cell Remastered for $100. That's... People take a look at, these large industries. They say, how did they dupe their customers into paying higher prices, and what can we do to get the same thing? As opposed to saying, wow, customers are really pissed off about that. Let's go cheaper. Let's offer a different alternative that could bring them to us. Effectively, they are all in bed with one another. It's a huge corporate circle jerk.
as much money out of a rock as they possibly can, and that's more or less what they're doing. They are now pushing forward, trying to make as much money as possible, cutting off free access to the site, and forcing people to pay a subscription. And I'm going to be honest here, you could quote me on this, clip this, whatever you want to do, but I see in the next year, maybe 2 years, Crunchyroll is going to add a paid plan that has ads associated with it. And
sure, I'll quote him on that, because that is very obvious. That is absolutely going to happen, yes.
It's going to act like it's a deal because it's cheaper, but in reality, if you want to get rid of the ads, you're going to have to pay an even higher price than you are currently with their premium subscription. So, how does this actually affect everyone? Well, first of all, it affects those that have tried to legally watch anime. I know this seems like kind of a crazy thing, but there is people that legitimately, despite all the issues with Crunchyroll, people will go to Crunchyroll to watch anime for one big...
People are retarded. I'll be real. I'll be real. If you ain't hitting up the fucking high seas, if you ain't putting on the straw hat to watch your anime, what the fuck are you doing? Because here's the dealio. Crunchyroll don't give a fuck about Japan. They don't give a fuck about the Japanese. They don't give a fuck about the anime industry. And they've proven so time and time and time again. But, oh, Leon, how do I support it officially? Guys, anime is a loss leader. Anime has always been a loss leader. It ain't like manga where there's a physical thing that you buy and, oh, the company gets money, alright? Anime is basically a giant commercial. A commercial for what you say, the things that actually fucking make money. Manga, action figures, statues, merch, trading cards, those gay-ass body pillows that people who will never get laid ever use. Like, that is what... Anime itself doesn't make money. It just gives an avenue for a lot of other shit to make money. Now, Frieren didn't make money. You know what Frieren did do, though? Frieren got real popular so they could have this, this deal with Starforge to have these $400 Starforge PC cases. Now that's what makes money. So you guys can understand how it actually works. So if you're watching Crunchyroll because it's the legal way, because you're supporting the official product, you're retarded, but we can save you.
Big reason. Convenience. If a lot of your titles are there all at once, and it's there upon airing, for the most part, I mean, Crunchyroll has a lot of issues with delayed episodes or translations, subtitles not appearing, and all that, but when it does work, it is a little bit more convenient than a pirate site sometimes. That might spam ads your way. But now that Crunchyroll is doing this move, I feel like this is going to incentivize more people to pirate anime, watch more pirated versions of anime, because those that were using the site in a legal way to watch this will no longer use the site. So that alienates a big chunk that could be potential customers to just go to pirate sites, because if they're already watching it for free, they're not going to want to pay for the service, so they're just going to go to like any big major pirate site.
Honestly, this is a good thing. The more I'm thinking about it, this is a good thing. Because these sort of folk, these are the tourists, right? These are the noobs, these are the tourists, these are the people that don't care about the medium. Not only are they not going to go to the pirate site, they're just going to get up, say spaghetti, they're not going to pay for this. Like, these are the type of folk that got into anime after COVID, thinking Boruto is the greatest thing ever, and think that you're a fucking degenerate if you're like, I don't know, pro fan service in anime. So you know what? If they gatekeep, this could be Crunchyroll accidentally gatekeeping anime harder, making our job easier. Like, I know that's wishful thinking, but I can't let the black pill set in.
To watch what they want. So the main point here I'm trying to get at is that Crunchyroll is alienating a chunk of their potential customers. People that might eventually buy a subscription for their service is now being forced off their site.
If you were using the ad-free version, or the free version with ads of Crunchyroll, I'll be real, like 90% of these motherfuckers weren't going to start using the paid version. I don't see that. If you found value in Crunchyroll for whatever reason, you would have already been paying for the version that didn't have commercials.
To potentially go and watch a pirated version. That's kind of a stupid move on Crunchyroll's part, and it makes me believe that they're more or less moving away from that system because there's a lot more money to be made to just directly, paying for a subscription service. And I feel like they're going to double dip into this, like I already mentioned. They're going to add a certain tier of subscription that's going to have ads associated with it. A bunch of other companies are already doing this, so it's most likely going to be the case, and it's going to once again reinstate that it's going to be inconvenient for people to use the site, because it's like, why would I want to be spammed by ads from an official service I'm paying for when I could just go to a pirate site, have some ad blocker, and just go watch it just fine?
Bingo,
and
bango,
it has
bongo.
the same quality or sometimes even better quality than what Crunchyroll has to offer. So the big point here is that this is a really questionable move by Crunchyroll, but it makes sense because of the monopoly.
Well, it's not questionable at all. Again, if you see Netflix doing this, and it works, and Amazon doing this, and it works, and Disney Plus doing this, and it works, and all these corpos be making money, I mean, let's pretend for a moment that Disney Plus is making money. Why wouldn't Crunchyroll do this? Logistically speaking, if a bunch of other people, if millions of monthly active users the world over are getting suckered into paying more and still with ads, why would you not as a business do it? Now, you could say, let's go the altruistic route and try and pull people from those services, but that's not how this works, especially because Crunchyroll isn't a monopoly, right? They have to fight for attention from all these other streamers. If they were a monopoly, they could effectively do whatever the fuck they want. And that's why, Chibi needs to stop saying that you can say that Crunchyroll is a monopoly in, like, the anime space specifically, not the streaming space. You'd still be wrong, because Netflix, Amazon, HIDIVE all offer an alternative to Crunchyroll. So, needless to say, they're just hedging their bets on people being retarded and following these general market trends that they've effectively been brainwashed into doing, right? People have gotten so used to doing this with their other streaming services, it's just part of the course that Crunchyroll does as well, and it doesn't seem out of the ordinary.
They can afford it. They can get away with this because no competition means you can nickel and dime people as much as you want. It's a really sad day, honestly. This affects a lot of people, thousands upon thousands of people. I believe there is a lot of people that have used this service and watched legally through this for many, many years. And now that's going away, man, it's kind of a bad idea. I think that this is kind of anti-consumer and just pushes people way down into the darkness.
Crunchyroll has literally always been anti-consumer.
Crunchyroll is always a company that does a lot of bad things and stupid mistakes, etc. Now, there is one thing I do want to talk about, which is a rumor at this time, and there is no official source I can use to back this up. But I have talked with someone that is an insider, in the industry that is associated with Crunchyroll to a degree, and I'm not going to name them because I want to keep them, unnamed. I feel like it would be a very bad thing if their name got out there, but they told me that Crunchyroll is not doing so hot in Japan, and what I mean by that is that apparently...
I mean, I can completely believe that. Last I've looked into it, and to be fair, I know I got some Japanese viewers, let me know in the comments, I could be wrong, but last I've checked, anime is still predominantly watched on, regular television, cable or local TV or whatnot in Japan. Not to say Crunchyroll doesn't exist, but streaming in general isn't as big over there, at least not when it comes to specifically anime, as it is over here. So, yeah, it would make sense that this is more of a luxury or specialty service over there, even more so than here.
Crunchyroll is looked upon as a black company, for instance, a company that is not really good in Japan's eyes. They don't want to associate with them with the bad blood they have with them, how they handle certain things or licensing. Apparently there is, problems in Japan, and Crunchyroll even had a meeting about a month and a half, 2 months ago in Japan, like some of their executives, with people in Japan, with different studios and companies, etc. And Crunchyroll is kind of being, kind of crapped on by a lot of people in Japan.
Good.
They don't like them. So I feel like maybe this move is to try to win back over maybe some corporations or companies in Japan, or in this case make more money because maybe they're not doing as financially as well as we thought they did because of some of the stupid decisions that they have been making. It's a very likely possibility, and if that rumor is indeed the case and it's not like, fake or whatever, then obviously I could see some dark days ahead for Crunchyroll, which is technically a good thing for a lot of people because, I would like to see a non-monopoly of anime in the West, and if there's other competition that comes in, I think that's just a good thing overall. That's a net positive. But once again, what I just said here, that brief thing, the rumor, that's a rumor. There is no official source I can give on that or anything like that, but that's at least what I...
Well, good, because what we're about to talk about does in fact back up that rumor. So, let's take a look at this. Chibi's video will be in the description, by the way, in the description down below. Anime streaming platforms HIDIVE and Crunchyroll join streaming alliance with 13 other specialty platforms. Now, this is actually the far more worrisome thing, right? This is far more worrisome than Crunchyroll just doing what every other streaming service has done, which is, remove the free with ads version, then a little bit later, involve a pay with ads version. Like, yeah, that's scummy. We've seen that plenty of times. This is where the real worry comes in. The true homogenization of the industry. Last month, 15 specialty streaming services, including anime services HIDIVE and Crunchyroll, announced the formation of the Specialty Streaming Advocacy Coalition Beyond Mainstream, a global streaming alliance. Per its media release, Beyond Mainstream aims to provide a unique, collective voice for specialized services in the streaming industry. And anytime you hear the word collective, you start thinking about communism, right? Communism, understandably so. The coalition will work to ensure more equitable regulatory environment where members have a strong collective voice in global regulatory and policy debates. Now, that sounds all good and fine on the surface, because what does this actually mean, right? This is a lot of PR talk, a lot of word salad. Basically, there's a bunch of smaller streaming services that aren't Netflix, that aren't Amazon, that aren't Apple, that aren't HBO, whatnot, and they've all gotten together and say, hey, a lot of times laws get made when it comes to streaming stuff, and they affect us negatively because you just assume we're heavy hitters like Amazon and HBO and shit. We're not. Maybe you should treat us differently. Great. That sounds awesome on the surface. Until we get a little bit further. Alrighty. So, the full list of streamers is AMC's networks Acorn TV, All Black, HIDIVE, Shudder, Sundance Now, Crunchyroll, Indian Plus, OutTV, Pureflix, Rakuten Viki, the Roku channel, Sony Live, Sony One, Tubi, and it will advocate for, get this, fair and proportionate regulations for those specialized platforms, ensuring viewers everywhere can continue to choose and access a diverse range of content and streaming options, ensuring that specialized and regional platforms and the diverse audience they serve are not overlooked. Here's the dealio. This is bullshit. This isn't true. This is worded in a way to make you think that these are like some small, scrappy underdog streaming services. Tubi. Let's just do a quick Google search here. Tubi monthly active users. Over 100 million monthly active users on Tubi. Okay? Alright. Crunchyroll monthly active users. Over 17 million. That's still a far cry, right? That's still a far cry from the 100 million of Tubi. But the point is, 17 million paying subscribers. Now, that's not including their free with ads tier that Chibi was just talking about. Over 17 million paying subscribers. I mean, that's a pretty, sizable chunk of the audience. So they're out here trying to portray themselves as these scrappy underdogs. Oh, we just want to make sure that the viewers can get what they need. We want to make sure that we're not being treated like these big media conglomerates. No. This is about them being pro-government regulation, pro-government power. Govern me harder, daddy. That is what this really is at the end of the day. And y'all know that more regulation means more dog shit quality products. Nigel de Mesa, president and CEO of Indian Plus, said the media release this coalition is especially timely timely. We keep hearing all these what are normally SJW, agenda-based buzzwords, but we're now hearing it in the corpo speak of just like trying to band together and stick it to Big Daddy government. So it's very interesting they use the exact same sort of buzzwords that like the New York Times would use about some sort of social case as new systems for digital democracy and global governance. They just saying the quiet part out loud, bro. They saying the quiet part on main. Global governance are on the horizon. Beyond mainstream will foster mutual cooperation so members can act together to secure a vibrant, sustainable future streaming in the global entertainment landscape. Streaming industry consultant Dan Rayburn shared on LinkedIn. Now let's see what he shared on LinkedIn, because this is effectively the end of the article, and it just goes to say what anime HIDIVE has acquired. It doesn't give you near enough information to what Dan Rayburn said, so let's just take a little gander. Dan Rayburn. A group of 15 specialty streaming services, including AMC Networks, Crunchyroll, Tubi, Roku, Z5, and others, have joined together to form a coalition called Beyond Mainstream. The alliance plans to advocate for what it considers fair and proportionate regulations for niche streaming services. Now again, remind me how 100 million monthly active users is niche. Ensuring they are not lumped in with major streamers when it comes to regulatory issues. The coalition has not disclosed who's running the new organization as the chairperson, and the website only lists a third-party PR firm for the contact. That's weird. So you're saying that you're trying to do this for the little guy, but there's no transparency whatsoever? You just got a third-party PR firm? But then it gets weirder than that. Update. The PR firm representing the alliance informs me there is no single company leading the alliance, nor is there an executive director. The Alliance appears to have conducted no pre-briefs or outreach of any kind to members of the media, and the website doesn't appear in Google search. So wait. You've got an organization made up of a bunch of streaming platforms focused on making sure their money isn't impacted. You've got no announced formal leader. And your website doesn't show up in Google searches when you're doing this coalition to have sway over the government, over various world governments? Like, guys, I know I'm a bit of a tinfoil hater. I know you boys are a bit of a conspiracy theorist, but how can, to even the normal person, this sound any sort of safe or on the up and up? I mean, the lack of transparency here is baffling. It's an odd way to launch a coalition, and I only learned about it through a tip from someone who sent me a link to their website. So let's take a look at their website. Beyond Mainstream, a global streaming alliance. About Beyond Mainstream. Beyond Mainstream aims to provide a unique collective voice for specialized services in the streaming industry. The coalition will work to ensure more equitable regulatory environment where members have strong collective voice and global regulatory and policy debates. Literally just what was in the article that we read a bit ago. And then it lists all the corporations that have, joined. Shudder, Crunchyroll. I don't know what All Black is. Atreus, Kada, if you're watching, let me know. But yeah. And then you got Special Streaming Services establish international coalition to advocate fair industry policies and fight for increased access to programming. This is just a bunch of, legal mumbo-jumbo basically stating, hey, we aren't being treated nicely. Treat us nicely now, please. However, I do not for a moment believe that is what their actual goal is. Like, the idea, you've got all these individuals together, right? You got all Sony 1, Z5, Tubi, Sundance Now, Shudder, Crunchyroll, HIDIVE. All these corpos come together. And there's no leadership? Yeah, there's a PR firm that links to on the website, but there's no leadership. There's nobody out there trying to say, all right, this is our plan. Here's our cause. Here's what we're going to do. You've got no figurehead for this. So the sentiment on X has been pretty much what you expected. The monopoly continues. They'll never be as united as us. Based. They have a monopoly on anime. I wish Sony never killed Funimation. It was a bad decision on their part. The state of watching anime these days. Glad I never subscribed to any of these sites. Piracy just increases. Is this why Crunchyroll is ending their ending their ad-free? No, you did say free ad-free. What the fuck? What? Caitlin, you're retarded. Anyway, yes, likely this is in some way tied to it. Now, again, it's more likely that it's really just that's becoming the norm of these streaming services is to get rid of free with ad models. That way you can use pay with ad models. But it is very interesting that announcement came at a time right after this coalition seems to have gone public. And to be fair, they're not even truly public. You can't find their website on Google. HIDIVE and Crunchyroll teaming up. So the only two remaining anime stream platforms are creating a joint lobby for a stronger grip on their monopoly, because that's what it looks like to me. HIDIVE and Crunchyroll announced the formation of a specialty streaming advocacy coalition. Yep, provide a unique and collective voice. Exactly. This is communism incarnate. So streaming in the West is dead now, huh? Without paying Crunchy support. I don't know why you would support this unless you. Oh, okay. Now I see. Silly me. I should have looked at the flags in the bio. This is bad. More censorship. Likely so. Yes, likely so. Because if this is going to be a global, coalition with these global corporations that are going to try and homogenize things for a global audience, they're going to appeal to multiple different world governments. Then yes, you likely will see even more censorship as they try to homogenize these products that are being sold for global audiences. Fuck monopolization. All my homies hate monopolization. Base. Give that one a like. At the end, Crunch Gun Eat High. Crunch Gun Eat All High. Bro, that's a fucking different language. I ain't even gonna try and give a fuck. Look, the point is this is a net negative. The point is this is terrible. Like, yeah, Crunchyroll be out here taking advantage of you as a viewer, but to be fair, they've been doing that since like 2017, if not earlier. So if you're still paying for Crunchyroll, then you get what you fucking deserve. If you weren't paying for Crunchyroll, and now you're gonna like, oh fuck, now I have to, don't do it. There's plenty of sites out there that are much better. Sail them high seas, great pirate era, put on your fucking straw hat. I believe in you. And then when it comes to this global, coalition for all these streaming services, this goes beyond anime. Now, obviously, we've got HIDIVE and Crunchyroll involved, but really, this is more about the homogenization of the streaming industry in general, and what this looks like as a further step towards communism. Anytime you got a coalition of how many, God, I don't know how many multiple businesses all getting together to petition world governments. I mean, they literally said global. How can we? Are you out your goddamn mind? They said it right here. Global streaming alliance. I'm sorry, that's not the one. Global regulatory and policy debates. Global governance. Global governance. They ain't even trying to hide it. So yes, this is a net negative for anime and for streaming and frankly for just entertainment the world over, because they're telling you exactly what they're doing. This is some pro-commie bullshit, and this is where the world headed. But these are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Let me know on X, you can find me at Bolt the Word, and please do subscribe. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day, not always about the anime industry, but video games, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check us out on Instagram at wordsparadise_Leon, and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord, choose the articles we go over on a day-to-day basis, choose the videos we react to on the daily streams, and of course get involved with over 250 other vital idols. We are a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to grow even further, because we do care about diversity. One kind of diversity of thought that's interesting to you. Join the Discord, hit subscribe. Until next time, it's all here in the nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.